Hello, I'm Sir Patrick Stewart. And even though I'm an acclaimed actor known and respected worldwide, that doesn't mean I don't get the winter blues. Yes, I suffer from seasonal affective disorder. So I asked my doctor about a new treatment called Nosatitol, and it's working for me.
Nosatitol, proven effective in reducing the severity of seasonal affective disorder. Nosatitol isn't a cure, but it works to push down feelings of melancholy caused by the shortening of days and forcing your brain to just get over itself and be happy all the time. Side effects include dry mouth, watery eyes, itchiness that begins mild but then becomes increasingly unbearable, voices in your head, other voices in your head, a third set of voices in your head that are arguing with the others even when you're trying to sleep, and eventually telling you that all the pretty flowers must die and don't you have a chainsaw hanging up in the garage. Ask your doctor if new Nosatitol is right for you.
Perhaps I'll just pick up a box of wine.
Nosatitol, new from Pfizer.
Nosatitol, I'm on it, and so far I feel fine. No side effect. My dog has started telling me some things that are a little concerning, but other than that, welcome to Mark Moseley Show. I'm Mark Moseley. Moseley is how you spell my last name, in case you want to follow me on social media, and you do. Let's face it, you want to follow me on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. And by the way, this show is on YouTube. Thank you very much, by the way, to all of you who have subscribed. I appreciate that. You're a small but plucky bunch. And we are growing. I've seen some pretty good growth since we started posting the show on YouTube, so I'm encouraged by that. Still very tiny but mighty. And if you can do anything to help us out, I'd really appreciate it. Share with a friend. Tell an enemy about my show. Tell someone that you really, really disagree with on politics so they can tune in and have their blood boil. I knew right away, by the way, that the shooter at Brown University was not MAGA. Was not a Republican, because there are rules, my friends. If there's even a whiff that a mass murderer is right-leaning, then the narrative of the left on social media is the shooter, right? The shooter, as in, he's MAGA. The shooter, it's about the shooter. But the narrative of the left on social media is by default about the guns if there's no evidence whatsoever that the shooter is a Republican. But then they pivot right to, it's about the guns and Republicans won't let us have more gun laws. So either way, the left will always make it about Republicans. So I just saw X explode with posts on Sunday and memes about how it's the guns. And so I knew, oh, you know what? I don't know anything about this story because it's breaking right now, but what I can tell you is that there's no initial evidence that the Republicans were in any way involved, that the shooter was MAGA. So a lot of folks on the left are incredibly easy to read. They're just very predictable. We need more gun laws, more gun control. And by the way, how sad is it that now when there is a mass shooting, we just step immediately right over the dead bodies on the ground and start politicizing tragedy. And yes, I'm aware of the irony. I'm aware of my own hypocrisy because I'm doing it now to score cheap political points. But I do wait a couple of days before I do so. But hey, listen, every man's a hypocrite. We're all flawed. We're all deeply flawed sinners. God didn't make anybody that was perfect except for one guy. And they killed him. So, unfortunately for the gun grabbers on the left, this all happened about the same time that on the other side of the planet, 15 poor souls were lost in a country where it's even more difficult to get hold of a gun than in the state of Rhode Island. I did some digging. Now, Rhode Island, out of 50 states, is 13th in rank on how tough their gun laws are. But Australia's gun laws are among the world's toughest. National, uniform, prohibitive for most firearms, most carry situations. Rhode Island is restrictive by U.S. standards. but it still allows civilian ownership and carry with permits. In Australia, you have virtually no civilian carry, and self-defense is an invalid reason in Australia. If you go to get a gun in Australia and you say, hey, my neighbor's threatening me, not good enough. You cannot buy a semi-automatic at all in the country of Australia. So now we have calls for more gun laws on the left, and for those of you on the left who are calling for more gun laws, I would just say, take a gander at Australia. And because I guess somehow in Australia, the guns figured out how to all be at Bondi Beach and fire themselves in spite of the humans involved being restricted in any way. My question is, did the guns carpool? Did they take separate? Did the guns plan to meet up there and take separate vehicles? I would like for the guns to be questioned. They should be brought in and questioned, and not to make this political, but do we know the political leanings of the guns or the religious affiliation of the guns? Did the guns hate the Jews? We want answers. Pivoting to poor Joy Reid earlier this week, how irrelevant have you become that you tried this cry for attention? Joy Reid, who used to be on one of the cable stations, who remembers which one, announced the following: Jingle Bells is racist. That's right. Joy Reid sparked controversy by reposting a viral Instagram video claiming that the beloved Christmas carol Jingle Bells has racist origins, alleging it was written by James Lord Pierpont, a Confederate supporter, in 1850 for blackface minstrel shows to mock black people participating in winter activities, with its first known performance in 1857 by a performer in blackface. And imagine we've gone all this time not realizing that, but Joy Reid is here to point it out to us. The claims stem from a 2017 academic paper by a Boston University scholar documenting the song's early ties to minstrelsy. Though Hamill has repeatedly clarified that her research, Kanya Hamill was the lady that wrote the paper on it. She has repeatedly clarified that her research was misrepresented. She never intended to label the song itself as racist or call for it to be canceled, focusing instead on how problematic performance history has been erased over time. And yes, that's what we do. We have a tendency to whitewash history, but name me a society around the world that doesn't do that. It's grasping at straws, and it's a call. It's a cry for attention by someone who has, unfortunately for her, become irrelevant over the last year or so. But I mean, how much of that is her fault? She made up some stuff and got caught doing it. But don't take it from me, a middle-aged, conservative, heterosexual white guy who also happens to be one of those Christians. Here's a black dude telling you that it's irrelevant.
This is why we can't have nice things. We've reached the part of the year where Jingle Bells, the most harmless kindergarten-level sleigh ride song in existence, gets dragged into the arena of outrage Olympics and is now deemed racist. Give me a break. Every December, we're supposed to chill out, sip cocoa, and maybe pretend like we like our coworkers. But nope, Joy Reid woke up and decided that today is the day to race shame a Christmas carol. I promise you, no one singing Laughing All the Way is plotting racial devastation. But Joy Reid decides to repost it with a Lord have mercy quote, like she just exposed the Pentagon's Christmas files. I swear, man, outrage is the new cardio. You gotta get those reps in. What kills me, though, is the selective tunnel vision, okay? Y'all will dig 200 years into a Christmas carol to find theoretical racism, but won't glance 2 inches to the left at the music getting blasted on the radio today. The song's full of violence, misogyny, drug glorification, and toxic vibes. But Jingle Bells is the real threat? That's what's tearing down black people? Not the shit being marketed as culture? Not the predatory record labels? Not the algorithm pumping poison for profit? Nope. Tiny sleigh, one horse. Problematic. Every time someone claims that they're protecting us, all it is another guilt trip. A snow day jingle from 1850 is gonna fix society? The world's on fire, but the internet declared war on a holiday song because this lady needed content. Congratulations, Joy. You solved racism. Santa can take the night off. Jingle Bells is not the villain. It's a cheerful little tune minding his damn business. Maybe everyone else should try that shit. Not for this manufactured ass outrage. All this drama brought to you by someone named Joy. Ain't that a bitch?
But let's play the Everything is Racist game and do it with some other classic Christmas songs, because what do I always say? The way to defeat liberal arguments is to allow the premise and then let it go to its logical conclusion. So here we go. Let's take a look at some other classic Christmas carols. Hark the Herald Angels Sing. First of all, hark. That's very white. Hark. In fact, that was how the white slave owners would greet each other. Hark, my fellow Southern plantation owner. Hark, I say, hark. Yes, that's a bad Foghorn Leghorn impression. I say, hark, son. So right there in the title, racist. Change hark to yo, and maybe you've got something. Yo, the Herald Angels Sing. Black people do not say the word hark. Do they know it's Christmas? You know this song, it's more contemporary. Do They Know It's Christmas by Band-Aid from the 80s. Classic white savior complex. The song portrays Africa as a barren, godless wasteland. The lyrics say, nothing ever grows, no rain or rivers flow. That's condescending and factually wrong. Africa has all kinds of ecosystems. They get snow, there are rivers, there are diverse faiths in Africa. We three kings of Orient are. Orient. The word Orient is problematic. I'm sorry, can you not just say they're Asian? Or what's with the word or? It sounds like dog whistle. It sounds like it could be a slur. They're Oriental. Just say Asian kings, okay? In fact, we've all seen the movie. Just say Crazy Rich Asians. How about Deck the Halls? Don we now our gay apparel. Nope. Not a fan.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. So you want to take us back. We know what that means when white people want to go back. It erases non-white experiences of Christmas in warmer climates, centering white as the ideal. Problematic. How about Sleigh Ride, the song Sleigh Ride? Who gets to go on a cozy sleigh ride with pumpkin pie? Wealthy, leisure class couples in snowy, rural, suburban areas. The song completely erases urban dwellers, people in warmer climates, and those without access to horses or private roads. It's a celebration of white upper-class nostalgia. Think Norman Rockwell painting. The lyrics glorify whipping horses. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, let's go. Does the horse have any consent? Does the horse have any say in this? Normalizing animal exploitation. And there's no mention of seatbelts or helmets. None whatsoever. It gets worse. The Christmas song. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. The lyrics paint an idyllic holiday that just isn't reality for many people. Jack Frost nipping, turkey, mistletoes, carols sung by tiny tots. This assumes nuclear family abundance. It excludes working class families, single parents, and those without the luxury of helping to make the season bright. Contains depictions of unregulated combustion, assimilationist nostalgia, and compulsory hetero festivity. It's time for a remix with LED fireplaces and a plate of mac and cheese with cut-up hot dogs. I'll be right back.
North Lake Galleria Mall, wishing you a happy, generic holiday season. We're all decked out for the holidays, and our decorations are completely non-denominational snowflakes and snowmen, so that no one is offended. Yes, at North Lake Galleria Mall, it's that very special, magical time of the year when we sell a lot more stuff. Bring the kids to Center Court this weekend to meet our own multi-denominational holiday guest, Rabbi Kwanzaa Claus. Yes, the kids can have their picture made with Rabbi Kwanzaa Claus and tell him what they want for whatever holiday they celebrate.
I'm Rabbi Kwanzaa Claus, and I'll see you at North Lake Galleria Mall. Ho, ho, oi!
Why, even this music is the generic holiday song Frosty the Snowman. We're not taking any chances at North Lake Galleria Mall, wishing you and yours the most wondrous whatever you celebrate, and a Happy New Year. Except for you Chinese and Jewish people.
Welcome back to Mark Moseley Show. I'm Mark Moseley. We were talking about problematic Christmas songs. And speaking of Christmas songs, it's just a week until Christmas. And happy holidays to all of you. I'm contractually prohibited from saying Merry Christmas. No, that's not true. Merry Christmas to everybody. And Happy Hanukkah, by the way, to our Jewish friends. Yeah, it's just a week until Christmas. And so it's time on the show for Donald and Melania to sing a beloved holiday classic. And this one, of course, is extremely problematic. By the way, I cracked the code to doing a Melania Trump impression. I cracked the code. Now, I'm not saying it's a good impression. I make no such claim, but it is a Melania impression. So I cracked the code on this. I was listening to some audio of her recently, and I realized Melania Trump is, for purposes of our show today, she's Ladka from Taxi. Andy Kaufman's character.
Forget I said anything. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Those of you who are too young to remember that, I'm sorry, but we're going with it. She's Ladka from Taxi. So here we go with Baby It's Cold Outside, Donald and Melania Trump. I was going to pre-record this, but we'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Do it live.
Oh, this is going to be rough. Here we go. This is what happens when you do it live. I simply must go. Baby, it's cold outside. The answer is no. They never say no when you're famous. In fact, they let you grab them by the... Stick to the lyrics, Donald. This welcome has been so lucky that you dropped in. So nice and warm. Look out the window at that storm. What a terrific storm. Probably the worst snowstorm that we've seen in a long time. And we've seen a lot of snowstorms. My sister will be suspicious. Your sister's all the way over there in Slovenia. She's not going to be around. My brother will be there at the door. He's over in Slovenia, too. He's trapped over there in that god-awful country. My maiden's aunt mind is vicious. I never understood that line. My maiden's aunt mind is vicious. Who cares? About your spinster aunt, who no one wants because she's a disgusting slob who looks like Rosie O'Donnell after an Irish pub crawl. Donald, please, stick to the lyrics. No, I must ad-lib. I have to ad-lib. No one ad-libs like I do. Let's get back to the song, Donald. Well, maybe just a cigarette more. Never such a blizzard before. Probably I'll have to issue a federal disaster declaration. I've got to get home. Oh, baby, you'll freeze out there. It's so cold. Say, lend me your coat. It's up to your knees, probably your neck. The snow is huge. You've really been grand. I thrill when you touch my hand. But don't you see... How can you do this thing to me? I mean, it's me, your president, the greatest president in history. There's bound to be talk tomorrow. Think of my lifelong sorrow. Well, not lifelong. I'll move on. I've been married a few times now. At least there will be plenty implied. If you caught pneumonia and died, again, I would grieve, but eventually I would move on. I really can't stay. Get over that holdout. Baby, it's cold outside. Baby, it's cold outside. I never claimed to be a singer, but I have a terrific voice, don't I? It's a holiday classic here on the Mark Moseley Show. Moseley. Just spell my name right. At Mark Moseley on all social media. Trump, by the way, is putting his face on coins now. I talked last week about how Trump is branding everything. It's true. The U.S. Mint and the Treasury are planning to issue a commemorative $1 coin next year featuring President Donald Trump's portrait as part of celebrations for America's 250th anniversary, which is the semi-quincentennial. Semi-quincentennial. Yes, I said it right. Under the Circulating Collectible Coin Redesign Act of 2020, signed by Trump in his first term, the Treasury Secretary, he was planning ahead for this. He knew he'd get reelected eventually. The Treasury Secretary is authorized to mint special $1 coins next year with designs emblematic of the anniversary. In October, the Treasury released initial draft designs showing Trump's profile on the head, and in some versions, an image of him raising his fist with the fight, fight, fight on the reverse. As of December 2025, the U.S. Mint has published candidate designs on its official website, which you could go look at, with multiple proposed options, all featuring Trump, though, and some reverse designs depicting an eagle, which I'm sure Trump is fine with. If you're not going to put my face on the other side, the eagle will be a close second. We love the eagle. Not as great as me, but still pretty terrific. These are official proposals from the U.S. Mint. Production is scheduled for next year. The design has not been finalized. There has been debate over whether it complies with traditions or laws against depicting living presidents on currency. Some are arguing for loopholes or precedents. The plan to issue the coin is real and ongoing, as reported by the media and confirmed at usmint.gov. Now, this is separate from circulating quarters, dimes, and et cetera, which there will be other anniversary coins, by the way. This is not the only America's 250th birthday coin, and those will not feature Trump. Not all the coins will feature. But you know who puts their face on money, right? Dictators. Huh? Dictators put their money on coins. Impeach Trump now. What do we want? We don't know. When do we want it? Sometime in the near future. Speaking of coins and impeachment, did you see that coin toss last weekend at the Army-Navy game? What the heck was that? He didn't flip the coin. He just kind of he went like this. He just hefted, put no spin on it. Totally rigged. Worse than January 6th. Impeach Trump now. But, of course, if you do remove Trump from office, you're going to get this guy, J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance weighed in on the Vanity Fair hit piece. Republicans, why do you act like the media will ever do a friendly article on you? Oh my goodness, they always have an agenda. Just always remember that whenever you agree to do a news article or an interview, remember, they always have an agenda. I found this out myself personally. I had a moment on local television here in Los Angeles back in it's been 20 years now. Back in 2005, I won an online auction for opening at the Comedy Store, which is a famous comedy club here in Los Angeles. And it was a fundraiser for Hurricane Katrina relief. Now, I lived in New Orleans for many years, so I have friends down there. And my parents, my father's gone now. My mother is, as we speak, my mother is slipping away. So on my next podcast, I will probably have some news for you on that. But anyway, because I started to say my parents live in Mississippi, and I thought, well, my dad doesn't live in Mississippi anymore. He lives in heaven, and my mom will join him soon. It's that grave. But anyway, I'm sorry to get sidetracked there for a second. I did this fundraiser that the Comedy Store was having an online auction where you won 5 minutes opening for a well-known comedian. And so I won the auction, and I remember the media was there. And the reason that I had bid so much was I wanted to, it was a year that I'd done very well financially, and I wanted to give back and help out the folks in New Orleans, in Louisiana, and in southern Mississippi, because southern Mississippi got the brunt of that as well. Biloxi, Gulfport, that whole area, and then on up into Hattiesburg, where my parents live. lived. And so, but I remember there was this one lady from the local media, and she had an agenda. She wanted me to change my story to something else, and I can't even remember what it was. But I remember I kept trying to bring her back. I said, no. The reason that I did this, my motivation for doing it, is I grew up down there, and so part of my heart is there in that part of the country. And she kept trying to nudge me away from my story into a more interesting story that she could tell. So anyway, that's my experience with what the media does, and that's just on a tiny level. So imagine this Vanity Fair hit piece centered around an interview with White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. And she said all kinds of things, which she now has to come out and say, oh, well, these things were taken out of context, or I said them, but I said them in a... You know, it's kind of like, you ever meet somebody and they're like, hey, when you texted me, you didn't use any emojis, and so I thought you were mad at me? And you capitalized this word, so I thought you were mad at me. Sometimes when things are spoken and then they get put in print, it's very easy for them to kind of be distorted into, well, that's not really what I meant when I said that. I was kind of kidding around. Anyway, these are some of the things that Susie Wiles said. Trump has an alcoholic's personality. Well, now, what does that mean? I mean, Trump is a teetotaler. He doesn't drink at all. He never has, and he learned that lesson from watching his brother battle alcoholism. Vance's conversion from never Trumper to MAGA acolyte, she said, has been sort of political. Okay, that's fair. The vice president, she added, has always been a conspiracy theorist, or the exact quote, has been a conspiracy theorist for a decade. Russell Vought, architect of the notorious Project 2025 and head of the Office of Management and Budget, is a right-wing absolute zealot, which I'm sure if you talk to Russell Vought, he would say, yeah, I'll take that label. When asked what she thought about Musk reposting a tweet about public sector workers killing millions under Hitler, Stalin, and Mao, she replied, I think that's when he's microdosing. So anyway, Susie Wiles has now said significant context was disregarded. So in Pennsylvania this week, J.D. Vance was asked about the article, and he had some thoughts, and he says, you know what? Sometimes I am a conspiracy theorist, but I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true. This is what he's said now. For example, I believed in the crazy conspiracy theory back in 2020 that it was stupid to mask 3-year-olds at the height of the COVID pandemic, that we should actually let them develop some language skills. I believed in this crazy conspiracy theory that the media and the government were covering up the fact that Joe Biden is clearly unable to do the job. And I believed in the conspiracy theory that Joe Biden was trying to throw his political opponents in jail rather than win an argument against his political opponents. So at least on some of these conspiracy theories, it turns out that a conspiracy theory is just something that was true 6 months before the media admitted it. And speaking of conspiracy theories, this Biden attack on his political enemy is starting to unravel. You might not have heard about this one because if the media doesn't report it, it didn't happen. The headline, FBI doubted probable cause for Mar-a-Lago raid, but pushed forward amid pressure from the Biden DOJ. And the story goes on to say that people inside the FBI thought, I don't know if we should be doing this. And they got pressure from the top. And of course, as you know, Trump wind up being charged out of former special counsel Jack Smith's investigation due to retention of classified materials. Everybody's heard the arguments back and forth about how the president is supposedly allowed to retain classified materials. Trump pleaded not guilty to all 37 felony charges from Smith's probe, including willful retention of national defense information, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and false statements. And of course, the charges were dropped by Smith after Trump won the 2024 presidential election. So that's where we are. Be right back with a story about ICE that the media made a really big deal about this week. And if you dig into the details, though, it seems it's not that bad. Be right back.
Cholesterol Ranch Gift Basket Company, who remind you last-minute Christmas shoppers there's no better way to send your best wishes than with a box of cheese balls and meat made from entrails. Yes, your loved ones can ring in a new year by filling themselves with nitrate-laden processed animal parts. Why not send someone special a Cholesterol Ranch bologna bouquet? A dozen 15-ounce beef sticks arranged like flowers. On a budget? Ask for our specially priced smoked gristle holiday assortment. Gristle. From Cholesterol Ranch. Look for our kiosk in the mall. It's only there during the holidays because, let's face it, you just don't eat enough this time of year. So this holiday season, send a gift that says, I hope you die of a massive coronary from the fine folks at Cholesterol Ranch.
Welcome back to Mark Moseley Show. I'm Mark Moseley. They made a big deal about this story. You know, the ongoing worldview schism. There's a whole bunch of people out there who really are proceeding from the idea that we shouldn't have a border, we shouldn't enforce our border laws, and ICE shouldn't exist because they're devils and they're evil people. Those folks made a big deal about this story this week because the narratives have gotten more and more extreme because they have to for you to continue to get attention about this stuff. Now the narrative is they're arresting American citizens. Federal agents arrested a citizen observer watching ICE detain neighbors on her North Minneapolis block. A 55-year-old woman who's an American citizen was arrested last Tuesday after confronting ICE officers over the arrests of three of her neighbors in the Willard Hay neighborhood of North Minneapolis. She appears to be the first observer arrested by federal law enforcement officers since the agency launched an immigration surge in the Twin Cities last Monday. Well, I would say I'm surprised not more people are being arrested. It is a felony to impede ICE's operations in any way. It's a felony to interfere with the execution of duties of any federal official. But I know ICE just has their hands full. They're trying to arrest as many illegal criminals and get them out of the country as possible, and they probably don't have time or the resources or the manpower to stop and arrest every person that's impeding them from doing so. Because, as you know, they're trying to catch Barack Obama's record of 3.1 million brown people kicked out of America. And I can't say that enough, and I will continue to say that because people just like to whistle past the graveyard on that one. They like to kind of pretend like that didn't happen. It's only Trump that's deporting Latin Americans. Only Trump is doing it. Barack Obama didn't deport 3.1 million people. Don't tell me about that. I don't want to remember. Anyway, ICE spokespeople did not respond for a comment or confirm the arrest, but Susan Tincher was awakened a little before 6:30 a.m. by alerts on her phone. So she had an app on her phone that tells you, oh, ICE is in your neighborhood, which is kind of creepy, but okay. She walked over and asked one of the officers across the street from the home that was being raided if they were ICE. She said the officer told her to get back. Tincher refused and said multiple agents approached her. And there it is. There it is, buried in the details. Federal law makes it a crime for anyone who forcibly assaults, resists, opposes, impedes, intimidates, or interferes with a federal law enforcement agency. That's how the law is written. So write your Democratic congressperson and tell them that they actually have to hit an ICE agent before they can be arrested, because all those words are in the law. Forcibly assaults, resists, opposes, impedes, intimidates, or interferes with a federal law enforcement agent while they're conducting their duties. Tincher, a white woman in her mid-50s who's only 5 feet 4 inches tall, insists she was at speaking distance from the agent and said she did nothing to impede their actions. Here's a quote from her. "Pretty soon they were throwing me on the ground and handcuffing me and putting me in their unmarked truck." Of course, it was unmarked. There were other watchers who was asking me what my name was and everything, so I identified myself to them, and then I started yelling help because I was being kidnapped. No, you were being arrested. Katie Rollins lives next door to the house, and she was awakened shortly by 6 a.m. by pounding on the next door neighbor's home. I got up, looked out my bedroom window, and saw 8 vehicles, all unmarked. One was parked on the sidewalk. It was an armed personnel carrier. And let me say something about the unmarked vehicles. Pardon me. If you're ICE, are you really going to advertise at this point with big ICE signs on the side of your vehicle? No, you're not. Knowing what you're dealing with every time you go out there now, are you really going to ride around in marked vehicles that say ICE on the side? I'm sorry. I think this whole unmarked vehicle thing is moot at this point. So you could take it out of your arguments because we're not impressed. We're just not. Here's a little bit of video about this incident.
What you're doing is illegal.
Why are you arresting her?
It was about 6:30, and I got the alert on the North Minneapolis Rapid Response Group that there was an abduction happening. So I went right over there, and I approached one of the officers I saw there and asked if she was ICE, and she told me to get back, and I didn't get back. And pretty soon they were throwing me on the ground and handcuffing me and putting me in their unmarked truck. It was pretty chaotic. I had just arrived there, so I didn't get to evaluate it fully, but there were other watchers who were asking me what my name was and everything, so I identified myself to them, and then I started yelling help because I was being kidnapped.
Help! Help me!
Again, ICE is going to keep doing their job, and you can keep trying to stop them, but you are going to get arrested, even if you are an American citizen. Let's move on. They've got a bear problem in Japan. Oh, boy. Specifically, the issue of bears just wandering into stores off the streets. A spate of bear encounters in Japan has been surprising for many reasons. One thing that caught my attention is they seem to be pretty good at using automatic doors. There's a little bit of video there. And I hope I'm not coming across as patronizing to any bears who might be watching this podcast. I mean, I've been known myself to mistake a pane of glass for a door on more than one occasion. It's bad news for people, though, and bear encounters are bad enough in the outdoors. But imagine, and as you can see in that video, and this is a little bear cub, so thankfully he's small, but he couldn't find his way back out because it's double. As you can see in the video, it's double doors. So one of them was open, but the other one was closed, and he couldn't figure out, and he keeps running into the glass there. But so Fulltech and Miraro are two companies in Japan that have been developing the Miraro door. Now, this is an automatic door that communicates with a smartphone using Bluetooth. This is how bad the bears wandering into stores in Japan thing has gotten, that a company has had to create an app and say, okay, if you're going to such and such store, you can't get in unless you use the app. They're pretty sure that the bears don't know how to download the apps onto their phones. So this is probably going to reduce this problem greatly. But Miraro door can be set so that only people with smartphones can access the door's automatic. Excuse me. I'm choking. This is such a great story. Automatic feature. Bears cannot go through. You do have to have the app on your phone for it to work. And once you do, it works on every compatible door. Even with the app, though, the doors will have, even if you don't have the app, you can always go up to the door, and there's a little button there that you could hit the switch to get inside. But it'll make it much, much harder for bears to get into stores in Japan. So a little bit of good news there. Now it's time for our doofus of the week here on Mark Moseley Show. You're a big stupid doofus. No, you are. No, you. In Hollywood, the Bright Star Credit Union on Hollywood Boulevard was robbed by 3 men recently, one of which was dressed as a woman. Why only one of them, we don't know. The other 2 did not get the memo. Guys, we're doing this in drag, okay? Now, I really want to wear a dress to rob the bank.
Well, excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
Well, another of them was wearing a mask, but not the third one. So these guys they did not coordinate on costumes. They did not have a plan when it came to dress code. But one of them was wearing a mid-length skirt and heels, big stiletto heels. A female cop responding to a silent alarm spotted the 3 outside the bank afterwards. The officer ordered the men to stop. Of course, they took off running. They took off running. Cops caught up to all 3 of them quickly. Guess which one they caught first, though? That's right, the one wearing the stiletto heels. Men, you should never try to flee from police while wearing heels. Congratulations, guys. You are our big, stupid doofuses of the week. And now, to wrap up the show, the good news. Now, this doesn't sound like good news, but trust me, stay with me. It is a good story. It is a wholesome story. But the headline is, in Yukon, Oklahoma, a car crashed into a daycare center. This happened earlier today on December 17th, the taping of this show. Barreled through the building and pinned one staff member. It's going to be okay. The quick-thinking teachers and the staff, they did that thing where they suddenly had the strength of the Incredible Hulk. They lifted the vehicle off of their colleague and then safely evacuated all 33 children at the daycare center without a serious injury. Now, here are the details. The Yukon, Oklahoma City community rallied impressively after a 2-car collision caused a vehicle to crash into La Petite Academy on West Reno Avenue, sparking a fire that destroyed the building completely. Now, remember, there are kids inside. The 5 staff members, only 5 of people, probably, I'm going to guess women, were able to lift this car off of their colleague, and they're being hailed as heroes for their calm, trained evacuation of all 33 children, ages infant through pre-K. No injuries among the kids or the staff. The driver was hospitalized, but is going to be all right. Families rushed to the scene. Parents like Jordan Williams called it a miracle, praising staff for handing over children safely and saying everyone is safe and accounted for. La Petite Academy has already posted on Facebook thanking staff, first responders, and the community because nearby daycare centers heard about it. KinderCare Yukon Mustang, Step Into Learning, and Primrose are 3 nearby daycare centers who took some of the kids in. They gave them blankets and snacks and took over. The community described as stronger together and a testament to heart and spirit. And on that note, that's the show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing on YouTube. And please share with a friend and leave me a comment, even though it says comments are disabled. I can still see them. Thanks again. And until next time, may God bless you with health, joy, and wisdom.